out on the bench here is a Canyon Strive all in its pieces, and next door we've got the suspension as well, which I'll show you in a second. But I put up a YouTube short saying, well, would you guys be interested in, now we've got everything apart, we're about to call the customer and ask them to authorize some of the work, and it might be interesting to show you the sort of the process we go through to get to that point. Now everything on here is still dirty, we haven't cleaned it down yet, but this is the point where we say, does that need replacing, does that need servicing, and that sort of thing. So let me show you what we found. Now first of all of the swing arms, we've taken all of the bearings out of these. This can be quite a tricky job actually, and we actually use a really nice bearing kit from Kinetic Bearings, which helps pull them out really straight. Now we need to protect the frame just using some electrical tape, but once we get there we have 4 bearings. These are the flanged ones that sit at the very back of the bike, right by the cassette, and this one's actually broken, so we're definitely going to replace that one. One of them, the seal has come off, and the other one is actually really loose as well. So 1 out of the 4 is okay. Now I've talked in videos before about this white lithium grease, and you can kind of see here what I mean, because once it starts drying out, it kind of calcifies and gets stuck. You can see all this sort of sticky residue everywhere. Now moving on to the other bearings, these two are obviously knackered. We can literally just wobble these ones backwards and forwards. That was just causing the whole rear swing arm to just move around. Now this one is actually fitted with something called a Shapeshifter, and the reason this came into us because the customer was complaining that the Shapeshifter wasn't working, and actually Canyon sent them a brand spanking new one, so we're not even going to service that, we're just going to get in there straight away and replace it. Got a few 6903 bearings, again all stuck in with that calcified white grease. It almost becomes like glue once it's been in there for too long. But those ones came out okay. The 2 down here, the main swing arms, are like beyond a joke. These are so rusty. These aren't even rotating. And they've actually done a little bit of damage to the main pivot bolt as well that goes through. Now, we probably won't replace this yet, but I think that at the next service, this is probably going to need replacing, because rather than the bearing rotating, this has just been scraping itself backwards and forwards on the bearing. Not cool. We don't normally do much with pedals, I have to say. If pedals are easily serviceable, we'll probably get in there and service them if they come with service kits, but we don't normally touch them because quite often it's almost cheaper just to replace them than it is to repair. Now the headset was in a real state. It just came out in bits and all the balls just fell over the workshop floor. This is definitely beyond a bit of a joke. Now, Canyon use these headsets from a brand called Acros, who make some really good quality headsets, but this one's particularly thin, and there's not, the balls in them aren't very big, so these things wear out quite quickly. There's almost no weather sealing to them as well. So this is quite a common thing that we see on a lot of Canyon and Acros bearings, so you get rusty really fast. As a result of the sort of that happening, what's happened is the customer has been trying to tighten it, and they've almost destroyed the little compression bung completely, which is a real shame because we need to replace that as well. The chain is pretty good actually. We use our chain checker. This is currently measuring between 0.5 and 0.75, so this is an ideal time to replace the chain. Cranksets are all looking good. Actually, it's not showing an awful lot of signs of wear. This looks really bad, but actually the cogs themselves look pretty good. The bottom bracket is feeling surprisingly smooth as well, so that's good news. Now, coming on to the wheels, the rear cassette again looks really good. You can normally tell because if you run your thumb over, you'll feel where the metal's almost been bent over, almost like hitting metal with a hammer. You get that sort of mushrooming effect, and this feels really smooth. I don't think this is going to be a problem putting a new chain onto this whole system. The inside of the hubs again look pretty good, so we've taken out all of the bearings on these. It is missing loads of the special grease as well, so I think we've caught this at the right time, just when it's starting to look really dry in there. Removing the little lock rings on DT Swiss hubs, by the way, top tip of any home mechanics out there. This is a fantastic tool made by a company called Elevation Lab. It is so good. You can actually get a proper spanner on there and they come out really easy. The big problem we have, and we noticed that the small cog on this is actually loose and rattling, and I think the lock ring's been coming loose as he's riding because he's bitten into the free hub, and so where that last cog would be sitting, there's hardly any material left keeping that in place. So sadly, I think we're going to need to replace this free hub body, which is a real shame because these are quite expensive. I think if we caught that a little bit earlier, we might have prevented that happening. And then finally, of course, we check the brake rotors, and this is a Shimano Ice-Tech rotor, the XT series, and it's written on here minimum thickness of 1.5, and we just used the tool that we've showed you before on the channel, and this is literally measuring 1.5, so this is right on the limit. It really does need replacing. You might have a few rides left in it, but I think this needs replacing pretty soon. Okay, so quite a lot to go through there. The wheels are in fantastic condition. Actually, we've just been checking around for dings and that sort of thing, but once we've got the hubs back in and replaced, we'll go through and true them up. And we need to replace some of the rim tape on this as well because it's starting to leak tubeless fluid, but that's all pretty much run-of-the-mill stuff. Right, let's go and take a look at our suspension forks. First bit of damage is on the steerer, and this has come from that loose headset. So you can see that by running your bike with a loose headset, you're starting to do some damage here. I don't think this is going to affect it too much because you can't feel a ridge, but it's taken off all the anodizing, so it's probably caught this just at the right time. Now on the fork, the damper side's actually feeling pretty good. This is working as expected, so I don't think we need to go too deep into the damper side yet, but the air side has definitely failed. When we removed the lowers, we felt that, or heard that whoosh of air, if you like. So there was air in the lowers where there definitely shouldn't be. And this is this rod here should be fully protruding, but it isn't, even though all of the air has been removed here. So that tells us that the positive air chamber here has gone past that plunger, if you like, and is now all the air pressure is now down here, pushing the spring this direction. So we need to open this up and start replacing those seals. And as part of that, we'll have a really good look down the stanchions to make sure there's no scratches or anything that might have caused that in the first place. So I think this needs a little bit of a deeper service than originally thought to try and retrieve that air spring. On the fork lowers, we always have a good look down the insides and just check the bushings on here as well. The wiper seals and the little foam rings are going to get replaced. As soon as we take any lowers off, those foam rings always get replaced. And in the case of something that's coming for its proper service, we'll replace those wiper seals as well and give everything a really, really good clean in there because it gets pretty filthy. You can see all this muck build up is what we're trying to prevent going back into your forks. So the parts we're going to fit, a couple of wiper seals and a 36mm air spring kit. Nice easy job. And then here on the rear shock, it's running a Fox DPX2. This is all in really good clean condition. So when we take these apart, we take the bushings out, inspect all of those. We're taking a really close look at all of the moving surfaces and make sure there's no scratches or any sort of visible damage there. And of course, we're replacing all of the airtight quad seals as well. Have a good look inside of the air can, give that a really good clean. Always using a fresh rag every single time and replacing all of those seals. They come in a kit like this, and yeah, a basic air can service done. So I think rear shock's in great condition. Those forks definitely need a little bit of TLC. So I hope that was useful. As you can see, we've got an awful lot of cleaning and servicing to do. If you've got any questions, please put them down in the comments. I'm always happy to hear your feedback and anything you're interested in. We can go a bit more depth maybe in a later video. All right, thanks for watching. Take it easy.